And I'm recording. Cool. All right, so we're going to start this adventure, like so many tales before it, in a tavern in a faraway town of Far Reach, on the outskirts of known civilization. Um, some of you have been locals for the past few seasons, and some of you are newcomers into the town and don't really know much of anybody around. Some seeking blood, some seeking money, some seeking just a reclusive escape from a life known previously. One quiet night, one of the town's scouts, town rangers, an elf by the name of Morning Breeze, issued an invitation, one that you four have found yourselves accepting. She spoke of a mysterious castle previously unknown in the mountains far to the north, along the mountain ridge just north of town, and spoke of a hobgoblin tribe threatening a buildup. And while relatively small now, she wanted a group of adventurers to seek out the fortress and see if they could put an end to the looming threat. You four now find yourselves in the mayor's office that same evening with the map of the area. We're going to begin with the doors opening, this manservant opening the doors and showing you into the room where the mayor and Morning Breeze are. Morning Breeze is not your typical elf. She looks very rough and quite unfriendly, and she looks up with a stern, cold eye. So these are the ones that answered. The mayor looks up. Oh, friends, welcome. Please join us. What do you do from here?
Well, Caden would walk in, and if there is some sort of chair or something wherever we're coming to meet, he would walk up casually, kind of like he's been in here before, and he knows the terrain, he knows the mayor, and he would walk up and sit down or stand, whichever would be more suitable to the space, and just kind of take a look at the other adventurers who came here to join him.
Is there a table in this room that maybe has like a three-dimensional representation of the layout of the immediate area? Something like that?
Not a 3D rep, but a crude hand-drawn map that Morning Breeze has been working on in her travels. It's laid out across the table. There's a central table in the middle of the room. No real chairs. They're just kind of leaning over it, talking about in the area that Morning Breeze is talking about. There's a big circle along the northern edges of the mountains.
Okay. This half-orc is one of the last ones to stride into the room, and he's cleanly dressed other than just the travel of the road, and he's big. He's 6'3", 312 pounds. He's huge. And he kind of ducks in through the entrance into this room and strides across the room with an incredible amount of confidence apparent on his face and his body language. He literally walks around the table and stands directly beside this ranger, this unconventional elf, and starts studying this map very closely without saying a word.
So Aravan looks at the room. He sees the mayor. He sees his other two companions, and he would sit down and like cross his legs and just put his hands on his lap and just stare at the mayor, see what he has to say.
Griff just kind of walks in. He's got like his head down. He's super intense. Like he's got like a pint-sized Danny Trejo kind of vibe. He comes in. His armor's all. He's got deep gashes in it, but it's still in usable shape. It's just a little worn for wear, and he's got daggers strapped all over him. And he comes in. He's got a short sword and a scimitar on his back, and then he's got 10 daggers in various places on him, and a whip. But he comes in, he kind of takes a swig out of a flask he takes off of his hip, and he's like, all right, what do you need killed? How many? How much gold?
If you're talking, we can't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear nothing.
We got you now.
Yeah, we got you.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
Excellent. Cool. We're going to get through this. Sorry.
Happens all the time, man.
So I came back. My headset went out for a second. I came back hearing Griff asking how many killed, how much gold, essentially. Yep. Yes.
How many things need to die, and how much you're going to pay me to do it, basically.
The mayor will look to Morning Breeze very seriously, wanting to know the extent of the threat. By the way, I don't know if you can see too much of this, but this would be generally the map you would be looking at on the table. A fair representation. And the where she's talking about is right up here.
All right.
Morning Breeze doesn't seem amused. She looks to you and says, "I didn't get a good count. From what I've seen at the edge of their camps, though, there seems to be a growing number. It looks like they're immigrating from somewhere else. I didn't see exactly the direction they came from. They could have been coming from underneath the mountains for all I know. But the point is, it needs to stop, and it needs to stop now. As far as reward, well, I'll leave that to our esteemed mayor here." To which the mayor perks up. Well, if this is as serious as Morning Breeze warns me of, I would offer permanent residence within the town under complete protection of our laws, as good Caden here already enjoys. I would also throw in 500 gold pieces to the lot of you upon proof of the eradication of this threat.
How about the church? What would the church be getting?
She looks to you. You work with Thomas, do you not?
Yes, I do.
Well, I'm sure that you, not only Thomas but yourself, would appreciate the opportunity to see what lies within the ruins of this keep. The foundations seem to be ancient indeed.
Well, that's why I'm here.
So we have an agreement then.
Yes.
The half-orc kind of speaks up and says, "You can keep your money. It does not matter to me. As long as I get to kill hobgoblins, everything will be fine."
And Caden would look to the mayor, a little bit surprised, a smile spreading across his face, and he would say, I like this one.
Griff kind of speaks up and says, I'll take his share.
Morning Breeze throws Griff a quick glance, barely noticeable. She then begins speaking. Excellent. Well, I will leave the planning and the expedition up to you. I can leave you with a map of the general area and wish you well, as I must return to my own duties. And with that, the mayor brushes. Yes?
Before she left, Caden would stop her as she kind of went to go, and he would ask, obviously she was like watching this encampment for a while, and if she recognized any approaches that were like safer than the others, at least towards the castle.
She says, of course, the keep itself lies just within the foothills of the mountains themselves. I witnessed what was probably a well-kept trail leading up to the keep at one point, now proving a little perilous with time. I'm sure you'll have no trouble finding your way up with caution. And with that, she kind of wryly smiles, but I'm sure that won't be a problem for the likes of you.
Oh, of course, obviously.
If not cautious. He kind of says, smiling.
She looks to the mayor. The mayor's name is Kendrick. She says, Lord Mayor Kendrick, I've left you with all the details that I find pertinent. With your leave. And turns to walk.
The very moment that she's gone, Vigor turns to this Caden and says, "This elf has no stick up us."
And Caden would try and stifle a laugh, but fail. So yeah, you know what? I've never figured that one out myself.
I like very much.
All right, and the mayor has a satchel full of the map and a few traveling supplies that you would find handy as far as navigating your way through the wilderness. He would also lean in and toss in a sack of 50 gold pieces. He's like, this is more of a front to supply yourselves as much as you find able in your journey ahead. From the conversations that I've had with our esteemed friend, it seems that this will be likely a week's travel. I'm sure foraging wouldn't be a problem for some of you, but plan well. And for God's sakes, please be careful. The last thing we need is this kind of a threat raining down out of the mountains just as we are establishing ourselves into safety. Are there any questions?
When do we leave?
I'm sorry, what was that?
When do we leave?
I will leave that entirely in your capable hands. Plan well, plan for a steady journey, and a safe return.
You will find heads on this table soon. Many heads. And Vigor will stride from the room.
After he leaves, Caden would look over to Kendrick and say, only he's going to be bringing him back.
Griff kind of turns to the mayor and 500 gold and just walks out.
Aravan would just like bow and say, "Good day, sir," and just slowly walk out.
Excellent. So that will be the evening with the mayor. I will leave the next step up to you all. Where would you like to meet up to discuss this? I'm going to be using the journey rules from Adventures in Middle Earth. So we're going to roll on a few tables as we embark. I'd like you guys to maybe talk amongst yourselves about a plan of travel. Who would fill a likely role of scout, maybe hunter, this type of thing, as you wind your way through the wilderness.
What are the different roles that we have to fill?
It's really up to you. Obviously, there's going to be hunting involved for food, so somebody would have to be in charge of that. Some type of a guide or a scout to lead the expedition. I would recommend who among you have the highest survival would probably fill that role pretty well.
My the scout is kind of like a mix between a fighter and a ranger, so I feel like Caden would fit a nice role with a natural explorer or whatever it's called, to take on the guide role.
Okay. So Caden will be guide.
Is there any need for like a quartermaster, like a person to help pull cart and things of that nature?
If you guys can roll me, roll me a charisma check, Vigor, and use this as an opportunity to talk to some of the suppliers in town about maybe cutting a good deal on a pony and a cart.
Could I attempt persuasion?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Okay. I will do that. In just a second, I'll come up with the roll.
Okay.
If there's a roll for cooking, I can always do that.
A roll for what? Oh, cook?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I only came up with a 9. But
Came up with a 9. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. The local stable will lend you a cart and a pony, but it's going to cost almost the entire front of what was given to you by the mayor. The most you could con him down to would be 45 gold for the pony and cart.
I think Vigor's going to go to Caden. Kind of just try to find him wherever he's at.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I brought you to the stable, showed you around.
Okay. He kind of turns to you and he says, this pathway, you know it?
I know more of the local area, but I know the terrain pretty well. What would my character know about the kind of road conditions, if there's even a road, or anything of that sort?
There will not be any road for the west of the town. The only road leading in would be to the south, where the river crosses the continent. A couple of leagues outside of town, fairly familiar in your hunting and scavenging out of there, especially in the search for good lumber. Outside of that is anyone's guess. You know that a mountain range to the north of the town stretches as far north as anybody has seen, but that's the extent of it.
And would I think that a cart would be able to travel?
Mostly, yes. From the lands that you've seen in the foothills, it's mostly open field with a few scattered forests here and there.
Okay.
Very
So
few
yeah,
streams.
I would relate that information to you, Vigor, and then say, I think we just gotta take the cart.
Yes, we see how much we take for cart, but we leave horse here. I do horse's job.
Kaden would like start laughing, like you were joking.
Why you laugh? Is it funny to you?
What? You're gonna?
You don't think Vigor can pull cart? Little man?
Okay, no, yeah, totally. You can pull the cart. You would
All right.
be like exchanging weird glances with the stable runner.
He points his finger and he says, "No whips."
I think you got to talk to the little one about that.
Hearing this, the stable master will cut you a deal on the cart for only 20 gold. He was really concerned with the safety of the pony more than the cart itself. So he looks at the half orc. It's like, you want to pull this across the wilderness? By all means. I wish you luck.
He walks over and he puts his hands around like the pony's upper arm, and then does like the same thing with one hand to his own bicep. Kind of just shrugs.
If I'm there, I want to put my hand like in the back of Vigor and go like, I never had a green pony before.
Stable master seems genuinely impressed at this. He's a dwarf fellow that tends to the cattle around, the cows and the sheep and the horses and the ponies. And he is genuinely impressed with your bravado on a thing. He says, "I'll tell you what, give me about a day and I'll see if I can't work up something here with the tanner about a harness of sorts. Maybe ease the job a little bit."
You have plans for fighting? Yes, this will work.
25 gold, square deal, and throws a big hand.
Yeah, and I think Vigor's hand kind of encases it, like almost, Andre the Giant and someone else shaking hands, just this ridiculous size difference.
Absolutely. The pressure that you apply to this dwarf's hand would crush anybody that you've been used to interacting with, and with very little effort. But the dwarf just smiles at you. Aye, lad. Aye.
We hear a lot
And
of
as he-
bad things about your people, but I do not suspect that these things are true.
As I said, give me a day. I'll fix something up for you. And as he turns to walk back towards his workshop, you kind of see him just wince his hand a little bit, very nonchalantly, and disappears back into his workshop. Have the other two been working on anything of their own for supplies or planning or given any thought to the coming days?
Griffin's looking, not Griffin. Griff is looking for a special dagger to take on. Every time he goes on like a quest or whatever, he gets a new dagger. It's like his thing.
Okay. All right. There's a fair few actual blacksmiths in town. All four of them are constantly busy as the needs of the town expand and more people show up. Why don't you give me an investigation check?
Okay.
And see if something might catch your eye in any of these shops.
That's a 12.
A 12. Okay. Well, you've searched high and low, and the most the most you could come up with is a fairly sturdy looking dagger. No real frills to it, but it will do the job that you require of it. This thing looks like it could punch through a Bulet's hide, but it's not very much to look at.
Well, that's not what's important anyway. All right. How much is that going to cost him?
The blacksmith is a human guy, name of Aldous, and he's been used to working just for, fair barter and use within the town. So money is kind of a weird subject for him, but he'll let the dagger go for 2 solid gold pieces.
Pays him 4.
Pays him 4. And you see a big smile come across Aldis's face. He's like, "My family will eat well this month, thank you."
You're welcome. He leaves.
Erevan would like to let his companions know that he would like to go to the church and talk to the brother, see if he knows anything about our journey that could help us out.
Okay, you approach the temple, and Thomas has been one of the original people here. Actually, it's Erevan. Thomas has been, get away from here, Furask. Go on. Go on. Sorry, my cat's being a shit. Thomas has been one of the original founding members of the excursion up here. He was along the travel train that crossed the Great River and helped build the bridge, and said a number of blessings at the laying of the town's cornerstone and in the square, and has been a strong voice in the community since its inception. And he has been relentlessly working on this temple the entire 5 seasons, and it's looking rather impressive now. Half elf cleric. The walls are smooth all the way up with a dome in the center of the building reaching up, and sort of a stained glass. You can't really see what the stained glass depicts from the outside of the building, but in the center of the dome itself is a smaller glass dome, with statues of a beautiful angelic figure with flaming wings on each corner of the building, reaching out with its arms behind it and wings outspread. These are made of pure gold, but everyone knows to never disturb what goes on within this building here, or meet the wrath of a very pious priest that is Brother Thomas. As you approach inside, shades of blue mosaic cover the floor, and a whitewash along the walls lead to a central altar within the center of the building. And from here you can see what the stained glass depicts is a figure of an angel, also with flaming wings and flaming hair, arms encasing the world in a loving, motherly way, as a protector of all things good and just within the world. There you find Brother Thomas within his benedictions.
All right, so I step forward and I kneel down in one hand and just pray for a second. And then I approach Brother Thomas and I tell him, brother, I'm in need of guidance. And I tell him about the meeting with the mayor and see if there's any way he could help us with any knowledge or anything.
Thomas is a very kindly man. He's allowed his beard to grow ever slightly, but he's very well kempt. His eyes shine just love and caring for his fellow man. And he crosses his arms and looks to himself in deep thought. And you are certain that you can be of use outside of the walls here?
Don't you think so? I mean, I'm pretty sure that, our God didn't brought us here just to stay in a temple all day.
With that, he smiles. Oh, very much not. That's how we find ourselves here, is it not? Brother Erwin, I give you my blessing. As a matter of fact, bring your companions here, and we will give them a shared blessing of the light of the Dawnflower, and in a good gesture towards a safe return.
So I started laughing, and then I'm like, "You're gonna have fun with that one," and I'll turn around and look for him.
Okay, so Erevan would go and locate the others?
Yes, I would go get the others and tell them that, to come to the church with me and just see what they say.
Griff's kind of reluctant, but he goes along.
Caden's been dragged there a couple times, too many for his liking, but he's used to it, and he would go along with no issue.
And I think since he's gotten here, Vigor has made his way to this building several times, but he's only spent any time outside just studying the extensive artwork and painting and just the extravagance in general, just not even believing that it's real.
Excellent. The four of you approach. This time you find Thomas in full regalia. He is in a long, flowing, pillowy robe of pure turquoise, almost a silk fabric, outlined by shimmering gold along the cuffs and the neck, and a large pendant of the very same angel within a pendant hanging on his chest. In his hand, he holds a cup and bids you all closer.
Before we approach him, I want to get right next to Griff and go like, "Don't get any ideas. You don't want to get smitten in here."
Griff kind of like half-hearted chuckles and takes a swig from his flask and I guess approaches.
Vigor kind of steps in 2 or 3 steps, and he hucks the great axe off of his shoulder and turns his muddy boot sideways and just slams his battle axe, the head of it, sideways into his boot, knocking free all of the road mud and dirt, and then switches to the other foot and does the same thing. And then he kind of puts it back over his shoulder, looks around, looks up at the ceiling, and just lets out a big whistle. This is big building. Many, many heads were chopped off of this building.
Griff's just kind of like looking around and like tallying up how much all the statues and stuff are worth.
You notice, Griff, as you're looking around, as your eyes fall towards the altar itself, Thomas's eyes are drilling a hole straight into your spirit. And any thought that you may have had it washes completely away. He bids you come. Thomas holds the chalice within his hand and starts singing a chant that reverberates across the entire building. From the look of him, it doesn't sound as if this voice would come out of a human. And the sound both reverberates off the wall and from within yourselves. And immediately you get a sense of warmth and welcome as you are bid to approach and kneel for the blessing.
Igor strides forward, kind of walks up to this very obviously holy man, this alpha male, and kind of looks him up and down. He stands a little close, probably a little too close to be ceremonial or proper. He kind of looks him up and down. You are a fine warrior. You wear the spoils of many kills. I will accept this blessing from you to aid in my God's mission. And he takes a knee.
As Vigor does that, Brother Thomas has locked eye contact with him. And the song never ceases as he raises the chalice up and sings a song to the Dawnflower, and then hands the cup to Vigor and bids him sip.
Vigor himself pauses for a moment and mutters a prayer of his own. With his eyes closed, he then takes a sip of this chalice and hands it back.
Immediately, you feel as invigorated as your first hunt. You remember the thrill of your first kill, the ecstasy as you brought your prey down. That good feeling now wells deep within your heart, and you feel strengthened to carry on no matter the circumstance. From here until otherwise noted, I'm going to give you a +1 to attack rolls and all saving throws. This process is going to be repeated to any that will kneel before the altar. I'm assuming that all of you will.
Griff kind of starts his own little prayer. He just starts saying 500 gold, 500 gold, 500 gold. Meals.
As Thomas is handing you the chalice, Griff, being the last party member to receive the blessing itself, he says, "Remember, young sir, not all that glitters. Not all that glitters."
I think I've heard that somewhere.
All right. So that is all that I have for the town. As soon as you guys are ready to set out, we will make an embarkation roll.
Could we go buy some food maybe before we do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Remaining
I assume
25
that
gold.
had already been taken care of.
Oh, cool. Perfect. Then never mind. We're good. I assume we would just spend the rest of our money on food.
Vigor would want one thing, if at all possible. He wants to get like a large piece of paper and just charcoal or whatever. And he goes to the place where they first talked to the mayor, and he makes a copy of the map before they leave.
Okay.
Just a crude copy that, he thinks will work well enough for himself.
Okay. All right. with everything out of the way, let me look over this. All right, Caden, I'm going to have you roll a D12 for me.
I'd like to have you know I picked up my D20, and then you said do the D12, and I was like, oh man, and I rolled it, and I got a natural 20. Not that that has anything to do with anything. 6.
You got a 6?
Do I add anything to that or no?
I subtracted 3 from it from the terrain that you're going to be going over.
Okay, cool.
So all right, I'm going to make a note of that. All right, from pardon me, guys, 1 second. I'm just making sure I understand this completely here. All right. So the 4 of you set out. Vigor, the harness fits really well. It's like just a leather vest that holds on to the cart poles where the pony would normally be attached with the bridle and whatnot. And it's a little bit of effort as you leave and fall into the fields and pull this thing along. But as long as any of the party members aren't trying to ride along, you should be able to pull this thing without too much of an exertion and getting too exhausted.
I'm pretty sure Griff could get away with it.
Probably would too, because he's slower than everybody else.
Oh, with a dex like that, he'd be slow?
Well, I guess not. He's got 25 for his speed, but I guess long distances it wouldn't matter too much. No, he's not going to ride though. He's kind of keeping an eye out.
I imagine maybe he tries. He like hops on, and Vigor just kind of stops and turns around and looks at him. Just won't go any further.
No, he puts both of his hands up and gets back off.
Thank you. Have some respect.
Hey, within a day's travel, the weather starts to turn a little gloomy. The clouds pour over the mountains from the east. A storm blowing out from the waterway just on the other side of the mountain range. And a light mist starts to drizzle over your travels, making the ground just slightly muddy, covering up to your shins in just muck. And I'm gonna need a Constitution check from you, Vigor, as you're trying to pull this cart along.
You want a check or a save?
Probably a save, yes.
Okay. So that was the +1. That will be, yeah, 7.
A 7. Okay, yeah. This is becoming brutishly hard for you. I'm going to have you take a level of exhaustion as you make your way towards what was going to end up being your very first campsite for the journey. Who would be keeping an eye out, if anyone, for anything?
I mean, I guess Griff could. He's not very perceptive, but he's really excited about the opportunity to kill something. So He's on the lookout.
Why don't you give me a perception check?
Okay. What's my perception? It is +0. 19.
Wasn't there?
19. Okay. As the day starts to wind down, you start noticing a few shadows peeking over bushes, zipping in between trees of a few copse of forests that you see along the foothills of the mountains. You guys are approaching the very southern reaches of the mountains here. You can't really see what's out there, whether it's animal or otherwise, but something's watching you.
All right, he kind of points out towards it. He's like, we're not alone. We got company. Yeah. Alerts the rest of the party.
And almost as if on cue, a long, mournful howl echoes out from the trees. A pack of wolves dart across the plains in front of you. They see you as they're running. They're looking directly at you, but they run into the mist, into the misting rain, just out of sight to your west.
Vigor, from where he's like struggling with this cart and kind of panting, he kind of looks up and kind of says, "Poor beasts do not know that Vigor is not horse. They will find not horse enough whenever they come. I will cut them in half with my axe. We'll drink their blood tonight. We'll never be finally stopped for rest."
And with that, you find as safe a spot as you possibly can. Still within the plains, along the edges of some trees that are lining the foothills here. The group of you set off to make some fire and set up camp. Brother Ervin, you tend to the dinner as it's starting to be nightfall. And Vigor, you gratefully unhook yourself from this cart and sit up on it out of the wet ground and stretch your legs out and get ready for the night. What do you do as a group?
Griff kind of goes up to Vigor, says, "I'll pull it tomorrow, huh?" And pats him on the shoulder.
He kind of nods and says, "Yes, because I think that would be a fine idea." He kind of laughs.
All right, so where we settled down, are we like in just the middle of a field or what?
Yes. The fields it stretches out as far as you can see to the northwest and west. You've lost sight of Far Reach at this point. You can no longer see any hint of civilization out here. The wildlife is very lively. You hear the howls of several wolves, maybe several packs of wolves in the mountains off to the plains. You hear the birds of prey in their flights and hunting along the trees. The rain is starting to fall a little heavier now. It's drizzling, and making life just wet enough to put you all in a foul mood.
Caden would, as we're kind of settling down and maybe Aravan is cooking, Caden would say that I've at least lost a couple of friends to these wolf packs, so we should make sure to set a watch tonight.
As he says that, I'm handing everybody their food, and Aravan would say, "Don't worry, guys, I'll take watch tonight."
You take watch all by yourself. It is very kind of you to offer.
As Bigger says that, I hand him his bowl of food and I tell him, "Don't worry, big man. I got it. But I have a question for a paladin. You're really angry."
Yes, this is true. I am angry. As most of my life, I am angry. But you know, anger is to me what faith is to you. I think anger is fuel to do right thing, take right direction all the time, without question. No doubt. I know. I know what Vigor must do, always. And I know because I am angry.
Well, I'm not here to judge, friend. So whatever keeps you alive, keep doing it.
And the night will settle in, leading into the deep night. Sleep overtakes all but the good cleric, as he keeps a watchful eye over the entire party. And everything goes completely undisturbed. And you actually get a good night's rest. You wake up a little wet, a lot damp, but in good spirits. And you start to trudge along again. Exhaustion is gone, yes. Does anybody want to attempt to help Vigor? And maybe push the cart along?
He's trying to prove himself.
Excellent.
Yeah, he's got this.
Caden's too busy finding the path and leading.
Well, throughout these next 6 days, you all are coming to understand that if the weather holds the way it is, with the rain and the soggy ground, Vigor is going to be fairly exhausted at the end of the day, and hopefully nothing happens within the night for him to be that tired.
Vigor's going to try removing his armor today. He'll keep it in the cart, but he's not going to wear it today. Just tunic and pants.
Okay. Yeah, that actually helps. The weather was being held out by your armor. You were sweating an awful lot. Now your skin feels as if it's breathing. You're panting a lot less as you're pulling it along this time. Actually, the rain starts to ease up a little bit as you're traveling. You can see off in the west the storm had missed you by a good bit. Up in the northwest looks just awful and dark, and you still see the lightning and hear the rolling thunder come from across the plains and crash against the mountainsides themselves. And the day goes fairly well. And you decide as a party to push into the night because Caden has found a stream a little ways up from where you were planning on stopping. So to get the cart there took a couple more hours past what you would like to have been traveling. Night has fallen. You hear the water as it's rushing down from the mountains into a gentle creek that you can't just see yet, but you do see the glow of a campfire just through a line of trees. How do you want to approach this?
All right, Griff's gonna go stealth and start approaching at a good distance, just trying to get a better look.
And Caden would stay back and start helping Vigor out of his harness.
We are stopping here for the night, not over there with fire.
We don't want to get into a scrap and have you all tied up here, right?
You think they are bad people?
50-50 out here.
Most people are bad people.
That is bleak outlook on life, small man. You are not serious, you believe this.
There's bad in everyone.
Yes, this is true. There's bad in all of us, and it is ugly when it escapes. But as long as it doesn't escape, you could still be a good man. I think maybe all of us have done bad things, but you must be careful to keep yourself in check. It is possible. Sometimes when it is hardest, that is best.
Maybe. Takes a swig from his flask.
Before Griff goes on his little espionage mission, Aaron would like to put his hand on his shoulder and do like a little prayer, and I would like to cast guidance on him.
All right.
And then I just pat him and I say, "Good luck and be careful."
All right. I'm going to stop for just a second, and somebody remind me exactly what does guidance do?
I'm looking it up right now.
Gives you a D4 on any ability check in the next minute.
Oh,
D4 for skills, usually.
Okay.
awesome. Yeah.
Skills and abilities?
Yeah, because technically skill checks are a type of ability check.
I got
anything
you.
that applies to ability
Yeah.
checks typically also applies to skill checks.
Okay. Excellent. I'm on board now. All right. So
Sorry, he stealths through the woods trying to get a better look at what's going on with his campfire.
okay, why don't you should give me a check on that?
Stealth.
Mhm.
That's 10, plus 7, and guidance. That's a D4. That's 20.
20. Excellent. You get right up against the edge of the light. What you see is a big covered cart pulled up against the banks of the creek. A small campfire tended to by what appears to be an old woman. She's huddled over the fire, her back to you, a shawl over her head. In the water itself, drinking, are these two gigantic birds, the likes of which you've never seen before. You can only guess that that's who would be pulling this cart. Two brightly yellow, friendly-looking bird creatures.
All right, he takes note of this and he heads back to let everyone know.
How do you guys take this?
And hearing that it was an old woman, Caden would recommend that we just head on in, see if we can share a fire.
Vigor is dying laughing, and he's just like slapping his knee. Old woman with birds. You all were so afraid of woman with birds. Maybe you not like the sweater she knit you, huh? And he gets back in the cart.
Griff kind of chuckles, says, "In my experience, old ladies by themselves with giant birds will usually kill you with spells or something."
Oh yes, maybe she's witch. Boo.
All right, he kind of puts his knives away and just gonna, I guess, follow the rest of the party.
As you approach, you come through the trees, and you get a clear sight of the camp. The woman doesn't even look over her shoulder. A sultry voice calls out from the campfire, "Please, no need to hide in the shadows. I offer you welcome and surcease. Come sit by my fire, please.
I think Vigar actually raced Griff the last bit of distance to this campfire, pulling the cart as fast as he can, trying to outrun this halfling the last 50 yards or whatever.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Oh, he'll race him, definitely. He doesn't like losing.
Araben's gonna turn around and look at Caden, and he's gonna tell him, "This is the best day of my life."
And as she stands, her form silhouetted against the fire in the darkness, she uncovers her head from the scarf, and the most gorgeous auburn hair that you've ever seen, picture perfect, surrounds a beautiful, exotic face, just a sultry brown, and hazel eyes shine in the darkness. And she looks at Vigor, and she says, "The Parisian people do not prefer this term witch. We are but humble travelers along the plains. Please, join me. I've been expecting you."
He kind of takes the harness off of his shoulders where it was kind of half on him, just this last short distance, and kind of just drops it. And he kind of stares at her for a moment, comes a little closer, and then he turns around and walks to Griff, and he kind of leans down and looks real close at his eyes, just kind of staring at him for a moment. "You have poor eyesight. You said this was old woman. This is not old woman.
Looked like an old woman to me.
I said you have poor eyesight." And he turns and he walks into the clearing. He says, Good evening to you."
Good evening to you, Holy Warrior.
Caden would walk over to the cart that Vigor dropped and see if he could grab any of like maybe the spices or some small bit of food that he could maybe contribute to whatever she was cooking, and go and kind of sit cross-legged near the fire.
Please, Woodsman. As I said, I am expecting you. My meal is your meal. Please sit. Have a bowl. Enjoy the warmth and the welcome of my fire. And with that, she dishes you out all a meal in a small wooden bowl, complete with wooden spoon, and hands to each of you. Please eat. Eat. And no comfort.
And Caden would just chow down.
This is the most delicious stew that you have ever put in your mouth. The mutton chops from home are in no comparison to this at all. The meat is filling and tasty, and the vegetables are hearty and fill you up completely. Best meal you've had in a long, long time. As you guys are eating, she's unrolling a scarf onto the ground itself and has a deck of cards in her hand as she is shuffling, eyeing you all. Strangers in this land, you have come seeking to tame the wild, but know this, the wild cannot be tamed. But what you seek are foretold within the cards. May I take your reading?
And Caden would stopping to swallow whatever mouthful he was gonna take, and he would kind of scoot back from the fire a little bit and say, and look to his companions.
Igor is kind of mid-bite. He kind of stops for a second, and he looks down at the bowl, and he says, "Does this have pork? Bacon?"
The Verizian looks at you. No, we do not eat from this swine. He's a dirty meat.
Good. And he keeps eating. And he says, wipes his hand on the back of his, or wipes his mouth on the back of his hands. Says, you know, we were joking about you being witch, but Vigor thinks that maybe you really are witch. This is your cards of magic, no?
No, they are much more than magic. I am no witch. As I said, I am a traveler of the plains. And I am here to show you what lies ahead and the road that you may or may not take. All is foretold within the cards. You, half-man, may I see your dagger?
Griff kind of looks up and says, "What'd you call me?"
You are half-man, are you not? You stand a full 1/3 of the big guy here.
Is that right? All right, his one dagger comes out and scimitar in the other hand.
Please, as she takes the dagger, blade in hand. There is no need for scimitar. And with that, cuts her hand, bleeds it into a bowl, picks up the blade and the bowl, and passes it to Griff. Now you.
He cuts his hand, puts it in the bowl.
And she eyes the other three.
Vigor says, what god answers your prayers?
God? No. Holy warrior. No gods answer prayers that I do not give. I have told you, I am Humble's traveler across all of the plains. I have drank with the gods of wine. I have danced with the gods of song. I have cried with the gods of death. I answer to all gods, and no gods all at once. They are there, we are here.
Do you know Zul'jin? You drink mead with him, maybe?
Vol'jin, I did not eye you for the vengeful type. What
I
seek
have
you?
soft face. I seek vengeance. I seek justice. There is a group out here. We hunt. We hunt like the wild dogs they are. But we are also cautious. We know there are other people out here. We're not stupid. My friends and me, Vigor. So you cross us, and you will know vengeance. You may have met Zul'jin once, but you have never met Vigor.
One of the birds lets out a loud cry and kind of stomps around the campfire, to which the lady chuckles to herself. Please, Paraska, easy friend. They mean us no harm. See, the cards will tell all. And she eyes you to continue with the bowl and the dagger.
And he kind of will with like a sideways glance, like, you know, I'm watching you kind of thing. But yeah, he'll go ahead.
And then Caden, after having backed up, he would say, no offense to you and yours, but I'm gonna pass.
Erebin would just stick out his hand, and then he would look at him and tell him if there was going to be any harm, I'm pretty sure my guy would warn me, and just let her, you know, do the thing.
All right. The woman takes the bowl in both hands and takes a large swig, holds it in her mouth for a second, and spits the contents into the fire. The fire will erupt high into the sky and turn a blue and purple and twirl around into the night. Sparks fly everywhere, but don't burn. They land on everybody but Caden. And she picks up the deck of cards and it lays them out in a pattern. She says, this is the bridge for your own journey. On this side, she motions to the left, where two cards lie, one atop another. She says, this card is the Wanderer. This is your party. This is who you are. This signifies why you are here. This card, and she picks up the one immediately, and she eyes it. You seek something lost. A keep. You seek a broken keep, but you do not know what lies within. The next card shows what lies immediately ahead, and she lays out three, and side by side. What you have been told is a lie, and a betrayal is in the immediate future, though you do not know from where. It lies just on the edge of darkness. And in that betrayal, she looks. You will find the souls of the lost that will answer your call and stand in your way as you approach the coming darkness. The darkness threatens to envelop all. And as she looks to the other side of the bridge, two more cards, one atop another. A great sacrifice will be made so that you might achieve your goal. But the goal is not what you have set out to do. It remains hidden in the darkness of the eclipse. Be warned of the sacrifice that you might make, for it may be more permanent than you are comfortable with. But for now, sleep well and know that the light of the dawn will be with you always. And as she speaks, all of your eyes are getting very, very, very heavy. You seem drawn in to what she speaks. And as she's reading you her reading, horrible visions come through your dreams. You don't know precisely when you fell asleep. You don't know precisely how long you've been asleep. But you are all awoke by the visions of the dead, pouring out of a crack in the darkness pouring out over all the lands to consume all that you've ever known and all that you've ever loved. You wake up covered in sweat. You look around. The fire is long ashed and cold. Cordelia's covered wagon and bird friends are nowhere to be found. Not even a trace lies in the dirt and the muck around the riverbank. A fair bit of extra meat, dried meat, has been placed upon your cart, and you look around dumbfounded at what may have just occurred. What do you do?
Vigor sits up, kind of propping up on his elbow just a bit, not wanting to move too fast. He kind of furrows his brow and looks around for a bit, kind of licking the outside of these two tusks that protrude out of the bottom lip, because it gets a little dry when he sleeps. Did we have wild mushrooms for dinner last night? Because I do not feel so good, and things in my head are kind of fuzzy.
I told you it was a 50-50.
Aravan would turn to Griff and like nudge him and just go like, "That was a witch indeed, huh?"
She called me half man. She was something.
This was real. Woman was real. Kind of looks for the wound in his hand where he cut.
And you find no wound.
No, this is dream. This was dream of the mushroom. Yes. And he stands up and starts getting ready for the day.
All right. I would like to take the opportunity to just take a quick 5-minute break. Maybe get up, stretch your legs, go to the restroom if you need, get something else to drink if you need, and come back in 5.
All right. This game has been awesome so far. This has been fantastic, Jason. I know you're not here yet, but when you're watching this later on, you're nailing it, brother. Killing it.
Oh man. I'm glad we didn't have all our stuff stolen.
Yeah, well, maybe that's still coming.
Maybe this is the dream.
Witchception. I'm enjoying the hell out of this group so far. This is fantastic.
Yeah, man, your voice is too cool.
Thank you. I love trying out different voices, even if it's terrible. Like it's fun just to try it.
Mm-hmm.
I had a voice lined up for Griff, and I did wound up not doing it.
Go for it anyways. Like just
Yeah,
start in the
it's
middle.
never too late.
Yeah, I
Doesn't
might.
matter. It's a lot of fun, man.
All right. Just going to get some tea real quick, and I'll be ready to rock.
Oh, before we go on, what is your class, Caden? Is it Ranger?
I'm a fighter. Unearthed
Okay.
Arcana Scout, whatever.
Right.
It's like a weird like Ranger fighter mix, but without the
Cool.
magic.
And Griff, you're halfling fighter.
Yep, the Halfling Fighter Battle Master.
Perfect. Cool. And then we have a cleric who is half elf in Jose. Is that correct? Cool.
We're just like a bunch of kick in the door and beat people up.
Go up and stab until everything's dead.
Yes. Yes. I've wanted to play a Vigilance Paladin for a while, and I'm having a really good time with it.
No, the interaction between you guys is really killer. I want to say I really appreciate it. You guys are making this super easy.
Dude, you are spoon feeding us pure sugar. It's fantastic.
It's true.
Yeah, I'm still getting used to the role playing, so I'll hop in more eventually.
Dude, it's just whatever you're comfortable with. Like, there's no pressure.
Yeah, no, man. No audience, just us. So, no judgment. It's all good. I promise you, I'm double nervous that you are right now. So, this is the first time that I have DM'd outside of, my kids and my wife and my brother. We had a small little group going for a little while, but it kind of fell apart. So this
You're
is
doing fantastic.
it's a big step for me.
It's a good one.
So is everybody ready to rock?
Oh, yeah.
Chief.
Awesome. So we found ourselves at this campsite near the creek. Not quite sure if what occurred the night before was real or dream. Aravan has been rummaging through some of the foraging supplies just to make sure that they didn't pick the right kind of mushrooms, the wrong kind of mushrooms, and everybody's just kind of dumbfounded on what to think on all this. But forward on you go. The mountains ever to your east, as you trudge along. Next several days really go by without any kind of event of note at all. Smooth traveling. The sun is shining. The ground has dried. The weather is pleasant. It's approaching the harvest time, so the trees in the mountains have turned, and a brilliant shade of oranges and yellows and reds meet the greens of the fields as the weather hasn't quite reached down below. And as you wind down for I would say this is your 6th night. Setting up camp, everything is going well. The hunting has been plentiful, so hunger has not been an issue. As you're setting up camp, you kind of, well, why don't you, all of you, give me a perception check?
It's 10.
6.
20.
16.
Excellent. Erevan and Vigor, both of you catch a whiff of it in the air. It's a fire. It's not your fire. It's billowing out from the woods. Directly to your north and east is the largest forest that you've seen to date.
I'm busy.
It stretches out, and you can almost see the smoke coming out. It doesn't smell like a forest fire. This has the scent of a bonfire of sorts. What would you like to do?
So it's very obviously wood smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else that seems to be mixed with it?
No. Just the smell of a fire getting started.
Vigor will get up, and you said that it's still dusk, or did the sun completely?
No, it's about dusk. You were preparing to start your own fire when it caught your senses.
Okay, so Vigor will kind of hold his hand up to whoever it is that's kind of starting the fire. Kind of shake it for just a second. And he says, might be a witch nearby. I smell fire. So maybe we wait. See how far away once it's dark.
As much as I would like to have some sort of dream again, I'd prefer not.
I do not mean to approach. I mean, maybe we not start fire, give away position. Maybe not yet.
I agree with that.
Rough it for the night.
If we must, there are worse things in life. Chafing. He like rubs his shoulders.
What do you think, Erevan?
I think laying low and waiting sounds like a good idea. We don't need any more surprises.
So you want to try to investigate, or you trying to avoid?
Sounds like we're gonna bunker down, not start a fire, and see how the night goes.
Okay.
Try
Well-
not getting drugged tonight.
Yeah, we don't need any naked halflings.
Where did that go? All right, as it gets dark, there's a bite in the air. Fall has made its way into the valley. The air is very crisp and very quiet. Animal sounds have ceased. The wildlife that you've grown accustomed to hearing during this past week is nowhere to be heard. What is heard is laughter. Somebody, somewhere, fairly close, is having a merry, merry time. The scent of the fire is now surrounded the entire encampment. Now there's meat being roasted. You don't know what meat. This is a foreign scent, but man, is it succulent. It's inviting, and it smells really, really good.
Vigor,
As you sit, go ahead.
sits there and he kind of has been quiet for a while. He's actually even stopped fidgeting. He's just kind of drinking in these smells into his nose. And he's trying to imagine this fire that's roasting this meat, warming his body. And he's just kind of trembling. And he can't even pull his will to think that he's warm enough. And he looks around. He says, "We could just go for a short time. Maybe just see what it's about."
The only civilized town around here is Farreach. Whatever is out there, I really don't think they'd be able to help us.
I mean, what are chances that there are drug-dealing witches 2 nights in a row?
I'd be surprised.
We could send the short one.
Vigor looks over to Griff.
That's a hard pass.
No. You don't like merriment.
I can't see very well anyway.
It's true.
I think Aravan, just because he sees the way Vigor is looking, is going to try to attempt to take a look.
Well, I mean, if the cleric is going, like, he can't get shown up by a half-elf, so he's going to go.
So,
And, Kaden will
Aravan-
go with Vigor as well.
okay. Aravan would like to stealth, if possible.
Griff's
Okay.
gonna
Give me
stealth follow him.
Do I do a check or whatnot?
Yeah, gotta give me a stealth check.
I got a 13.
I got a 16.
I am actually not going to roll with Vigor.
Okay.
Because he's not attempting to be stealthy. And up ahead,
I got a 17.
up ahead as the other two are sneaking, he's actually kind of whispering after them, "What are you doing? Why are you standing behind the tree? Why are you walking that way? What are you doing?"
Do you want to get drugged again?
No, no, I suppose not. No. They try this terribly to copy their emotions and what they're doing.
Well, as 3 of you are trying to creep through the woods, and the half orc is just trudging through towards whatever scent this is, Vigor catches it first, being upright as he is, behind 0 cover. You notice a village. Pretty well-established village. Not very big. Maybe 24 little buildings, thatch roofed, wood built. And towards this, just off center of the town, is a small little hill with some stones laying about it, half buried into the ground, and a large tree. At the base of the hill, a giant bonfire is roaring, and on a spit they have a corpse of some game roasting and rotisserie around, just throwing off the most succulent smell that you've ever had enter your nose. And at the fire, there stands a woman, and she turns around. She's like, "Oh, there you are. We've been waiting for you. Come. Why are you hiding? Join us, join us, join us. Honey, they're here." And the townspeople all turn your way and see the half-orc standing just outside of the town. What do you do?
Vygar's walking up, kind of still pretending like he's trying to sneak and just knowing that he's not really doing so. And he's talking to Erevan, kind of in a loud voice. "No, I'm serious. Elf is very tasty. No offense meant, but it's very delicious. I've actually had it before on multiple occasions. Bad people. All bad people."
Well, hopefully they don't taste like half elf.
I'm just saying it could be half elf, maybe. I don't know. We shall see when we... Oh, and he kind of looks up and sees all these people staring at them. "Hello, good evening to you."
And what you can guess, maybe 24 people being led by a couple. You can only take as the leaders of the village. A short, kind of stocky man, fat man, not fat, just roundish, happy looking, being led by just a knockout of a woman. Black hair, shining eyes, a smile that just draws you in and makes you want to drown in her beauty. And she fastly approaches you. "By the gods, we didn't think that you would show. You are friends of Morning Breeze. Yes, we've been waiting. We've been waiting. I'm Marianne. How do you do?" And she grasps Vigor's hands in both of her, well, a couple of fingers of Vigor's hands into her petite little hands, and looks at him warmly and smiles. "We have the feast waiting for you. We are so happy to see you. Please, please join us. And tell your friends to stop hiding. There's no need for this. Come, 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 come." And leads you towards the fire.
Vigor kind of smiles. He's kind of awkward, toothy smile. And he kind of looks back towards where he last saw Caden. And he says, "Women in your country are beautiful. Why do you be so ugly? You have good genetics here. What's going on?"
Caden would walk out and I'd like to think I'm not half bad myself. And he would like kind of straighten his shirt and it's like scale mail, and he'd walk up to you and he'd kind of mutter under his breath, "What are the chances 2 friendly groups in one day?" And then he would walk up and move with you towards the food.
To be fair, the encounter with the lady at the river was days ago. That was 4 or 5 days ago. This is further along. You're almost, as you can reckon, almost where you need to go.
Nothing else. Maybe they know more about half-orc.
As Erevan walks in, he's gonna slap lightly Vigor in the back, and he's gonna go like, "Keep it in your pants, buddy."
The rotund man comes and grasps Vigor's hands and gives him a hearty slap on the shoulder. "The name is Trask. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Hearthwood. We are just celebrating the time of harvest. Please, please come join us. We are having our yearly feast. Join us. I insist."
And if Griff was around, I don't think Griff has like kind of come out of hiding yet.
Yeah, Griff's coming. He's following.
Oh, okay. Well, I might signal to Griff, like point at maybe one of like the nearby houses, and like give a little like nod in one of the general directions of the houses, as Caden like walks up and like slaps his hand on the back of. He just said his name. I forgot the guy, the rotund guy, Trask, and he would ask, "What's cooking?"
Trask and his wife, Mary Ann. And Trask looks at you. What else would there be at the time of harvest but a stag? We took him down not 2 days prior. The gods have seen fit to bless us this winter. It will be a glorious year. Glorious, I tell you. I tell you. Sit down. Let's eat. And as he's talking and rambling about this and that and the festival of the harvest, you come around the corner of one of the buildings, and there is the town square right in front of a large house, much more glamorous than the other houses. Yes? Oh, sorry. Much more glamorous than the other houses. A full story higher. Not thatch roofed at all, but supremely well built. I mean, just extravagance into this house. And in front of it, outside of the porch area, is a long table. Several tables in rows, but the longer table is where Mary Ann and Trask have set up 4 empty spots surrounded by the rest of the townsfolk. And they're all being merry and drinking and laughing and talking amongst themselves. Several look up to you and raise their mugs. Ah! And there's some dancing around the fire. Some of the younger girls, fairly scantily clad, see through some of the sheets as they're spinning and dancing around the fire and giggling as young girls do. It seems like a good time is being had.
Igor kind of points to the house and turns towards Trask, and he says, "You have large hut. You have beautiful wives." And he motions to the wife and the other girls dancing around the fire. "You are a powerful warrior, no?"
Trask looks at you, kind of not sure what you're saying for a second. He's like, "Oh, no, those are not my wives. Believe me, Mary Ann, she's more than any man can handle on his own. She keeps me busy enough. These are my friends. This house has been in my family for generations. We've been here a long time." And Mary Ann reaches over and, dear, let our guests sit down and eat. Quit running your yap. Sit down. Enjoy."
Blackmore makes eyes with somebody, maybe Caden, and he raises his eyebrows like, See, told you.
And Caden would respond with the skeptic face, and then look to Trask and say, we're from Farreach, just to the south. It's a little surprising we haven't heard or traded with you. You don't travel much?"
And he looks, Farreach. I haven't not heard of it. Morning Breeze, yes?
Yes.
Huh. We've not heard of this place. We've been here for generations. But we stay to ourselves. The woods, the forest it provides, the gods, old Greenface, he takes care of us, no?
And would my character recognize that god at all?
Give me a religion check.
13.
Would the cleric like to make a religion check as well?
Yes, please.
All right. Go ahead and roll me a religion check.
I got 12.
12 and 13. Okay. Yeah, you don't really recognize the name Greenface is obviously a nickname. It sounds very druidy, like the religion of the old people, the old pagans that were around centuries ago. Nothing that would be worshipped with any kind of regularity within civilized lands.
Vigor says, "See, sorry, to see they follow gods. They follow green-faced gods, no less." And he kind of flexes. Maybe I have chance, no?
You get him talking.
Maybe I will.
Marianne hears you and throws you a little wry grin and a wink. Maybe more than you think. And she laughs and sits down and rubs her husband's head. And the meal is brought. The townspeople are eating. Marianne is eating and drinking, and Trask is regaling you with the history of the area. And this father did that, and the stag stood this tall and had this many points on his antlers, and just yammers on and on unceasingly as the night goes on. Do you guys partake in the hospitality, and you find yourselves eating and drinking and being merry?
Well, before we ate, I might ask him how he knows Morning Breeze.
Oh, Morning Breeze. She's been a friend of ours. 9 seasons. We found her hunting in our lands. She brought us a stag. We had a most magnificent feast upon meeting her. She has been a friend unceasing since time immemorial. How do you know her?
Well, could I roll insight on that?
Mm-hmm.
I believe him, guys. We should eat here. And Kaden would say, well, she comes into Far Reach every now and then, and so we know each other vaguely. Shared dinner with her a couple of times.
And she really gets around, doesn't she?
So then, yeah, I would partake.
All right, excellent.
I would like to ask my followers to gather around for a second for a prayer. And as we're holding hands, I'll cast Aid, which gives 2 creatures a maximum of 5 hit points for 8 hours. And then I would just tell them that, have fun, but just be careful. 1 time, okay. 2nd time, a little bit skeptical.
Vigor says, no mushrooms.
Yes.
So,
No.
what does that do for us? We get 5 hit points?
Yeah, you guys get 5 extra hit points for 8 hours.
Excellent.
Awesome.
So yeah, it goes on. It's approaching 10 at night, 11 at night. It's on into the night. The meal has been served. The dancers have grown weary. Everybody is starting to head off to their chosen corners. Some couples, some groups. Everybody's having a good time. The town square is emptying out. Trask and Marianne insist that you guys stay in their home. They have a room prepped and ready, beds for everyone, bath if you want. Just their house is your house.
Well, it would be nice to sleep in a bed for once.
See, maybe you're right, Caden. You may be right. So far, you are 50-50.
Everyone would like to go and like examine the bed, and then look at Viger and be like, "Are you sure you're not gonna break this?"
Break bed? I have broken many bed in my day. Yes.
All right. As you all head inside, hey, Caden, give me a Constitution save, please.
That's a good sign. Ooh, 13.
Okay. As you all head inside, Marianne is just gushing over your visit. She loves the fact that you joined them, and she is expressing her immense gratitude and joining them for their harvest feast, and shows each of you to a separate room, complete with bed and wash bowl to clean yourselves up and get nice and comfortable, and shows you each to your room. What would you like to do from here? Each of you find yourselves alone in each of your rooms.
Griff's already asleep.
Griff is asleep. Caden, you're almost overcome with exhaustion. You are very, very tired. That bed looks really inviting, man.
Oh, yeah. And especially because, I talked with him earlier and I trust him. I trust these guys. And so I would take off my armor, like put my axe, lean it up against the wall next to the bed, and just pass out.
I think we see the area where the tub is kept and where it's actually filled, and there's water all over the floor, and you hear just kind of this humming, and we kind of pan up and see Vigor sitting in this steaming bath, and he is actually in the water with his armor, and he's scrubbing it clean, getting all of the dirt and road mud off of it in the same tub as it's in.
Excellent. Caden, you stretch out underneath the sheets. You're as comfortable as you've been since you left home. You're starting to doze off. Your eyes are growing very heavy. They close for a little while, and they shoot open awake. Then they close again. Then they shoot open awake, and as they close, the last thing you see is a group of the villagers surrounding your bed, and everything goes dark. Everything goes dark. Priest, Arabin, you hear a thud and a muffled and some footsteps leading out into the town square. And then everything goes quiet again, and then a little jiggle on your door as the doorknob starts to open. What would you like to do?
Shit. Can I stealth?
Well, I mean, there's not many places to go. There's no window in this room. There's the bed. There's the wash table with the bowl. And
Can I go out the window if there is a window?
There is no window.
Oh, what the hell? I don't think there is much I can do. Just wait and see who shows up.
The door creaks open, and you hear just whispers. This is quiet. He'll hear us. Quiet. And then a louder voice. Shit, he's still awake. And a group of people rush into your room. Maybe five. 5 of the villagers rush into your room. Vigor, you definitely hear this racket from your room. I want both of you to roll me initiative.
Am I awake at this point whenever it happens, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you were settling in.
I got a 14.
Okay.
Got a 9.
Okay, so the villagers come rushing in, and 2 per arm, and 1 around your neck, and 1 with a rag over your mouth. I'm going to need a Constitution save from you to remain conscious.
Both of us, or just
Erevan.
I got an 11.
You got an 11? Okay, you unfortunately breathe deeply as you're struggling, as you're grappled. You're fading fast. You can try to break yourself free as your turn rolls around here. They have a very strong grip on you, and darkness is quickly overtaking you.
All right. Well, I mean, can I try to fight or not really?
Yes, you can try to fight. You can. What would need to be rolled to try to end a grapple?
Generally, like an athletics or an acrobatics to move, but he could also just like attack if he wanted to.
Okay. Yeah, you can roll me an attack, or how about an athletics check if you want to try to break free completely.
All right. 15.
15? Oh yeah, absolutely. Is that an attack or an athletics check?
That was an athletics check.
Athletics check. Okay. Panic sets in as the darkness is encroaching upon your vision. You're not going to go down like this. You throw your body forward and break your arm free from the right and knock over the guy with the rag. The rag falls from your face, and you can grab a breath of fresh air. The people around you, the people on your left, have just a loose grab on you right now. As you start to breathe fresher air and try to just claw your way back to consciousness, you see Vigor rush into the room, axe in hand, wondering what exactly is happening here. Vigor, this is where you come in, man. What do you do?
If I could take just a little bit of narrative, let me know if I take it too far. I think like outside of these rooms, there's the balcony that like looks over the lower floor, and like we're on the second floor, all of our rooms. So Vigor is actually going to make his entrance by running forward, lowering his shoulder, and body checking this guy that's upstairs near the railing, and his intention is just to take him up and over the rail.
Okay. Roll me an attack roll.
Okay.
Nat 20? Excellent.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Now you just slam into this guy. You can feel your shoulders just press up into his solar plexus, and you just, with all your orcish strength, just launch him flying into the air with your shoulder. And it's almost cartoonish how he falls over in a sickening crunch as he lands directly on his head onto the floor below, completely dead.
And then he pulls his axe out and brandishes it.
Would that be enough noise to wake Griff up?
Excellent.
He is completely
Yes, Griff.
naked and soaking wet, covered with soap.
Griff, this is where you come in. You have heard these steps, like just this. Thud, 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 thud. Ah! And as you open your door, there stands a naked half orc and staring into the room of one of your companions. And you don't know what exactly is going on. But roll me an initiative check, or initiative roll.
Oh, that's a 9.
That's a 9. Okay.
Man.
One of the villagers pulls out a sap from the back of his trousers and rolls to attack. Does a 17 hit you, Ervin?
That is my armor class.
No, Ervin.
My armor class is 18.
Okay, so he misses your skull, and you feel it hit on your back, but to no real damage. At this point, the other villagers are trying to grab you and hold you down, and just pulled you out of the way of this guy's shot. They're trying to grab onto you again. As we roll around to your turn, what would you like to do?
I would like to take my hand and put it right against the face of the guy who just hit me and cast Sacred Flame on him.
Okay. Describe to me how that works. The role involved. I'm sorry, I'm still kind of
It's good. Yeah, it's not, one second. Says the target must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or take 1d8 radiant damage.
Dexterity?
Yeah.
Okay. He absolutely moves out of the way. Describe to me what it looks like, though, as you try to attack this guy with this. What exactly does it look like?
So I have my hand like right here, and as you see light turn to fire, somebody grabs him and jerk him, and it just goes through and hits him in the side of the face, like sizzling his ear a little bit, but it hits the wall, and that's it.
So sacred fire would hit the wooden wall. Excellent. All right, Vigor, we're gonna. Did you roll a 9 or an 8?
It was a 9 total.
Okay. Which of you have the higher dexterity? Probably Griff. Yes.
Griff's rocking a 20 in dexterity.
Okay, that's. We're gonna go with that then. Griff, what would you like to do, seeing this madness going on, disturbing you from a really restful slumber?
He's already got 2 daggers out. How many? Like, how is everybody set up? Like, is it one hallway and they're further down the hallway?
Okay, so what you see is you're kind of at the end, or along the side of one of the this hallway balcony. The door that they're in, if you were running down the hallway, such as Vigor was, you would run directly into this door. So Vigor is standing there naked with axe in hand. And as you're peeking out, you see inside the room where Ervin is being attacked by a group of 5 villagers.
All right, how long is this hallway?
20 feet.
All right, cool. All right, he takes off dead sprint down the hallway. Because he has halfling nimbleness, he can move through Vigor's space.
Okay.
In his movement right in front of him. Both daggers, throwing one at one guy, one at a different one.
Okay.
This is what he's been waiting for. All right, so I can re-roll that. Awesome. I got a 19 plus 7, so that's 26, and a 12.
All right. Blagor, all you see is this little blur and two dagger handles are buried within the throat and the chest of two of the villagers inside the room. 1 second.
Did he throw those daggers after he came from between my legs or before?
As he was sliding under your legs, he was throwing two daggers.
Vigor says, "You watch out. Those are very sharp things you're throwing about, and you're way too close to things that should not have sharp things pointed at them."
I'll watch out for your delicate bits.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, both of those villagers fall down. Blagor, this is you now. Two of the villagers are dead and bleeding on the floor. Your cleric friend is still struggling in the grasp of two of them. And the third one turns to face you, the one with the chloroform rag in his hand.
Is the one with the rag in his hand wielding a weapon at all?
No, he wasn't.
Okay. Then Vigor just pushes right through him as best he can. And he's going to head for the two that are wrestling with the cleric on the ground, or at least the nearest one to him.
Okay. Pushing your way past the guy with the rag, it's going to open up a attack of opportunity. So he's going to try to jump onto your back and put the rag over your mouth. And he's just going to fail miserably. As he tries to launch onto your massive back, you just kind of shrug him off like a fly on a horse's back, and he falls down.
He puts the rag over his own mouth.
That's not quite that bad. All right, roll me that attack.
He comes in just kind of and rushes right past this guy and pushes him out of the way. And as he pushes him, he uses that to grab his axe. And then as it's on its way down, he grabs it with his second hand and then comes down on the nearest villager. I think maybe he's even got his back turned to him as he's kind of wrestling with Aravan's arms or something. Let's see. 11 starting, so that's a 17 total. Oh, wait, the blessing that we have, an 18 total.
18 total. That's definitely a hit. Tell me about what happens as this axe blade comes down on this poor, unarmored villager.
So this great axe has a broadness of maybe a foot to 18 inches or so, and it's probably a good, 8 inches, 10 inches tall. And he carries it up, brings it down with both hands, and just buries it right between where this guy's neck meets his clavicle, and just cuts him all the way down to like the bottom of his sternum.
He looks at you in disbelief, just how could it end this way?
Vigor leans
You see
down.
the life.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you see the life starting to ebb quickly from this man's face as he stares at you. What does Vigor do?
Vigor leans in real close. His face is almost touching the head of his axe, and he says, "Vigor." And then he removes his axe and pushes him over with his foot.
You murderer, you. All right. Yeah, I do too. I love Vigor. All right. We are back at the villagers. The other villager and the one with the rag, the two others are very terrified right now as they turn tail and try to make it down the hallway, totally failing. And what their plan obviously is to snatch each and every one of you individually in the dead of night. They're both running down to the end of the hallway to where the stairs are to go down to the main hall of the home. Aravan, it is It is your go, sir.
Are any other near me, or they already got away?
They've ran as Vigor was trying to pull his axe out of the corpse of the other one, jumping over Griff and just hauling as much ass as they can, as quickly as they can towards the stairwell.
All right. I would like to put my hand on Vigor and tell him, "Thank you very much. I usually don't resort to violence, but I understand." And then as I see him and Griff on the floor, whatever he's doing, I want to cast Bless on all three of us.
Okay. Excellent. Griff, you feel invigorated with this blessing. I'm sorry. What's that, Jimmy?
Vigor kind of looks to the other two. Where is Caden?
That's a good question.
Go ahead.
He's still sleeping. If he's still sleeping, I'm going to hit him in the head.
And Everand would go, I have a bad feeling. Before I was attacked, I heard noises outside.
Then do you wish to stay sleeping on the floor there? Or should one of us pick you up first?
I'm good. Okay.
Come. He reaches his forearm down and grasps a hold of Erevan and helps him to his feet.
You guys get out to the hallway. Caden's room was just off to the side of where Erevan's room was. So if you see the hallway with the banister, it would kind of horseshoe around. There would also be another balcony on the other side with the roof of the building kind of sloped above you. Caden's, I'm sorry, room would be towards the middle of the horseshoe there. It is empty.
Is there a chandelier?
No. There are air slots kind of opened up, and as it slopes up, there's an opening vertically this way and another roof to keep the weather out.
What kind of stuff is immediately below the balcony?
An open area with a fine rug stretches from the entranceway towards the back wall of the room below, the bottom of the staircase.
Yeah, Vigor's going to kind of vault over the balcony and hang one-handed and then drop down to the floor below.
Okay. What do the rest of you do?
Grip goes over the railing too.
Erevan's gonna look down and shout Vigor, so that way he can, hold his hands out while I jump and catch me.
Vigor will just joyously laughing, and again, he's completely naked and soaking wet, making water everywhere.
Outside.
Oops, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if possible, can I do something a little bit crazy?
Mm-hmm. Please do something crazy.
We're trying to find out where he's at, and they're probably hidden somewhere. As he has me in his hands, can I use my spell to burn the building?
Well, I mean, funnily enough, the holy fire that you launched from your hand earlier had kind of caught that room's wall on fire, and you can smell the burning home's wood as it's starting to catch and become a serious threat to the stability of the home. As you do this, you can see directly out the front door where the other villagers just bolted out. The double doors opened, and you see the bonfire outside. Directly above, tied to the tree, looking oak tree that looks a lot more evil now than it did before. Tied to it, your friend Caden. He has a gag around his mouth and is tied very securely. As the villagers are naked and bowing and worshiping this tree, chanting something unintelligible, as Marianne turns to you and laughs. Please come join us. We've been waiting.
Vicar points. He says, "See, this is good. I have found Caden. He's having a wonderful time. Maybe we should join them. Yes, this will be wonderful." And he walks up confidently. What?
You already dressed the part.
Exactly. Dress the part. As you step outside, there's a haze in the air surrounding the village. You can barely see the trees surrounding just outside. It's dark. It doesn't look like fog. It's much darker, much thicker, more palpable than fog. Roll me a perception check. Check. See about this fog here.
I got a 19.
19. Excellent.
Ended up with an 18.
18. Also excellent.
Natural 20.
Natural 20. Both of you, or all three of you, it appears darker, not because it's night or outside of the fire's reach, but it's like a blood mist. It's red, and it's coalescing. It's creeping along the ground like snakes towards the tree and meeting at Marianne's feet and twirling up around her. At this point, she laughs and throws her head back, and her jaw starts to dislocate in an unnatural way. The skin opens up, and these tendrils and nasty predator-like teeth open up as she starts twitching way towards you. Everybody roll initiative.
People in this land do too many drugs.
Caden, you roll initiative too. I don't mean to interrupt. Sorry, Jeremy.
I'm just bullshitting, man.
24.
5.
Oh, 5. Okay.
I got a 12.
So Griff 24,
Yes.
5 for Caden. What was that, Jose?
12.
12.
$10.
Okay. All right. So Griff, you get the jump on what's going down here, and you understand that this is going to be a hell of a fight. So your instincts take over. What would you like to do?
He kind of looks around to the rest of the party. That bitch has to die. And he's off. He's going straight towards her, just cutting down anybody that comes in between him and his target.
Okay. Well, so far all the villagers, the tree at the base, they're at the base.
How
of the
many
hill.
villagers are there? I might not.
There's about 14.
Oh. All right. All right. He's going to try to stealth and wait for an opening to get to her instead of trying to wade through all those villagers.
You're going to take a pretty big hit on stealth. There's not really many places to be hiding outside of the building.
All right.
Inside.
No, he's just going to pull his short sword in one hand and a dagger in the other. And he's going to hold his action until somebody does something. Like, so somebody comes towards him or attacks one of his comrades or something.
Okay. Are you inside or outside?
He, I guess, was following. So wherever everyone else is, is everybody inside? Because he jumped over the banister with everyone else.
I think
Right.
we're all in the
It-
plaza thing.
Yeah. Because he was
So
on.
the way I took it is everybody is on the porch of the house.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Well, he has his blades out, and he's kind of sizing up where everybody's at, and how best tactically to work his way through them. But he's not attacking anybody yet.
Okay. The creature that you knew as Mary Ann moves fast, and before you know it, she's upon you on the steps of the porch. These black arms kind of liquefy out of her own and whip right at Vigor. And that's going to be a 14 on Vigor on the first attack.
Yes, because he
Go ahead.
is currently not wearing an armor at all. He is at an AC of 13.
Okay, so that's going to be 10 damage as this thing wraps around your throat and picks you up, and you feel this necrotic energy sap into your vitals and just start leeching the life force from you. It's hard to breathe. It's hard to see, and you're several inches above the ground. Death. The second attack reaches out to the priest, and that is going to be a 13.
My AC is 18.
Okay, so the second tendril lashes out and just misses you as you see your half-orc friend off the ground.
Would I get to take my action now because I held it until somebody attacked us?
Somebody better with the rules tell me exactly how that would work. Would he go first before the attack?
Theoretically, adds an interrupt action.
He would just get one attack.
Okay. So yes, go ahead and make me that attack.
Okay. He's going to throw trip attack on that, one of his maneuvers.
Okay.
So the attack is 16 to hit.
That's going to hit.
All right. And that is with the short sword, 1d6 plus 5. 8 plus, I got to add my maneuver dice. That's 14 damage total and a strength save DC 15 for prone.
Oh, she survives the prone attack. She's got to roll a 15 to save and doesn't
Yeah.
fall prone. Is that okay?
Yeah, DC 15.
Okay, she succeeded on that part. And how much damage did you say?
It was 8 plus 6. 14.
Okay, your short sword slashes into her leg, and rotted meat just splits as you connect. She barely notices the damage, though. What looked like a lively young woman appears to be just a desiccated corpse this close up. Your short sword cuts its way up, just black blood and rotting meat. It opens up from the wound. And that's going to bring us to Erevan.
Are the villagers still chanting or no?
Yes, and they are starting to stand up.
Oh, sure. Well, in that case, I would like to Sacred Flame that bitch like you said.
Excellent. I'm sorry, guys. Could that take like 30 seconds? All right. So
Absolutely. Oh man.
We'll save you. We're trying.
Oh, you guys are good. Like I said, fifth edition, man.
Yeah.
This is what it's supposed to do right here.
Am I do you say I was like tied up by like rope or something?
And gagged, I think.
And gagged. It's exciting.
Yeah.
I always got raped, man.
And roofied.
I just got roofied. Well, I guess I don't. The other thing could have happened.
Maybe.
My character's not a fan of tentacles.
Oh no, let's not do that, please. Oh man. Yeah. I hope that I can put some hurt on this chick.
Yeah. I got 4 superiority dice. I've already burned one of them.
Yeah, currently in my home group, I'm playing a Battlemaster fighter. He's a dual wielder of scimitars. Lots and lots of fun.
Yeah, I kind of broke the game with the Battlemaster Fighter Assassin multi-class.
I can see that.
all right. Sorry about that. So much coffee.
Broke the seal.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So we were at Jose here. He was going to toast some Marianne.
My attack roll with the modifiers was 22.
Absolutely hits.
Right. Let me roll damage now. Let me see what's happening. Alright, my damage was 9.
9. Is there any bonus or anything to undead creatures? Anything?
I don't know. Let me see. It
Is this-
depends. Does Radiant do anything special?
I'm going to say that it does. Holy fire against a creature of this kind of vile darkness is just a polar opposite. So I'm going to say add a +5 to that damage. So that'll bring up to a 14.
I believe so, yeah.
Excellent. So radiant fire encompasses this woman, and she starts to burn. She catches the tendril, lets go of the orc as he crumples to the ground, gasping for breath. She screeches in pain of your righteous fury and backs up towards the fire and the villagers, who now have turned their full attention to you guys and to poor Caden, who's tied up to the tree there. A small group of them are approaching him with knives in hand, and the others, also with knives in hand, are starting to walk their way towards you.
Get something real quick.
Yes.
Vigor looks down, kind of halfway to the side as he's kind of catching his breath, to Griff, and he says, "You go help the human. She is mine."
All right. And Griff's going that way.
Excellent. Vigor, we are at your turn, sir.
Vigor kind of stands up and he reaches down by his thigh and wrenches the head of his axe free from one of the boards of the porch where it fell, and kind of hefts it up onto his shoulder and walks forward after this creature. If it's close enough for him to close for melee, he definitely will.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
you can absolutely close in. You are going to be by the fire directly in front of her, and a large group of the villagers are closing in around you. You're about to be surrounded in this situation.
Yep, Vigor does not care. He points his hand as he's walking towards her, kind of speeding up the last bit of distance. And he says, "You creatures from another world, I am Vigor. I am voice of Zul'jin, god of justice, god of righteous vengeance. I am his hands. I am his blade. And tonight you meet your end in this realm and every other realm. This is your undoing. I'm going to use my Channel Divinity to use a bonus action and place Vow of Enmity upon her when I'm 10 feet away from her. I have advantage on all attack rolls for the next minute until she reaches 0 hit points or unconscious. Attack rolls against her.
Excellent.
And then I'm going to step up and swing.
Outstanding. Swing away, valiant warrior.
Okay. Starting with a 16.
Absolutely hits.
22. Excellent. Okay, cool. D12. Add. Okay, so I've got 6 and 4 is 10 points, but I am also going to burn one of my first level spells to add some radiant damage onto that. It starts off, because it's a first level spell, at 2d8, and then you said she is a fiend or undead?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then it's a 3d8 in addition. That's 8 and an additional 13 points of radiant.
Plus the 5 for being radiant,
Yeah.
which bring it to 23.
I believe so. Bless, I think, is only to the attack. Is that right, Jose? Yeah.
Yes, I've added the plus 5 to
Oh,
it.
attack roll. Okay, my bad.
She howls in pain, not realizing the righteous fury that this group had brought with them to rain down justice upon the wicked. Your axe bites deep into her belly, and the stench of the rotted guts hits the ground and just overwhelms your senses. If you can imagine a morgue that the power went out in August on the 3rd day, this will be about that smell. It is ripe, to say the least. But she still stands, an unholy light flashing from her eyes, a vicious, deep red, as she starts to scream, "It will not end like this." Caden, I want you to try.
Could I do like an acrobatics to try and slip out of whatever knot they got me in?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, acrobatics seems most fitting here. Yeah, try to do something to try to loosen yourself from the ropes.
They get tighter with a natural one.
Ooh. With that, you're struggling, and you see the 4 approaching you, knives in hand. They're going to attack with advantage, and they're going to just shove the daggers deep into your torso.
They're trying to beat a 13.
Well, they rolled a 19. Let's see. Dagger is a D4. That's a 4, and a 1, and a 3. So 12 damage to you, sir, as these blades find their mark fairly easily into your torso and ribs. You're pretty panicked right now, and almost certain that this is how you die.
Yeah, you can see like trying to like kick at them to like try and push the daggers away and struggling and it's just getting caught up and more tied up. Oh God.
No, he did not. He was not part of that blessing.
Well, I got the aid 8 hours ago. Or whatever.
Yeah, that would still fall in. So you got that.
Don't worry,
All right.
guys, I'm fine.
So the villagers are starting to come around, and they're going to make several attacks against our half-orc here as they're protecting their mistress of the night. That's a 16 on one. That's a 4 and a 19. Those are the three that moved in closer to you. So two attacks. They've all got daggers. 2 and 2. So they bite into your thigh and your side as they slice into you. And I believe we're back up to Griff now.
All right. How is Griff up with the group that just attacked Caden?
He has worked his way up there, yes.
He's
You're coming up behind the 4 that are attacking Griff. You see them backs to you, just shoving blades into his body.
All right. He's working his way from left to right. Daggers. Well, short sword in one hand, dagger in the other. That's how he still had it.
Okay.
All right. So first attack. 16 plus 7. 23.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's a hit. So we got. That was a short sword. So 1d6 plus 5.
I'm just going to let you know, these are kind of the minion type, so damage rolls are not going to apply. As long as you hit, they're going to fall.
Okay. All right. So that's one down. Next one to the left for the offhand. 16 to hit.
That hits.
All right. And take an action surge and go for a third one. $19 to hit.
Absolutely. Just like a blur of little halfling fury. You run up the side of this hill and just a dervish of death swing all your blades and work your way around. And the 3 fall without ever noticing a single threat. They never even saw you coming. They just fall, throat slit, every one of them. Fall to the ground bleeding. It's at this moment that you see you're standing on top of the hill, and this is a ritual mound of sorts. A darkness is oozing up from the land itself here. Something evil happened here at some point. And it's almost as if the tree itself is swiping down at you. The branches are swaying and just an unnatural, you don't feel any wind, but the branches are swinging around. And this will bring us to Erevan. No, I'm sorry, Marianne. Has ripped what is left of her guts and thrown them to the ground. Any pretense of being a living creature gone. She launches herself onto the half-orc, jumping up like a predator and coming down with these tendrils of death. And she's going to miss. Even unarmored, your AC is what?
13.
13? Yeah, she misses with both attacks. She hits you, but you're much more powerful than this puny creature landing on top of you. Even with the weight, you just catch her as she comes down, not knowing exactly what to do, but she's snapping at you. The weight of your axe is holding her abroad as she's swiping down at your face. Just claws, just centimeters from your eyes. Now we're at Erevan. Erevan, what you see is Marianne on top of your friend, who is now surrounded by about 10 villagers. They're closing in. What would you like to do?
Alrighty, let's see. I would like to cast Sacred Flame on Marianne.
Is there any chance of hitting your companion with that spell?
I don't know, let me check.
I'm not sure how these things. Is it like a cone that goes out, or is it like specific to a target and that's all that you hit?
It says flame-like radiance descends on a creature that you can see within range.
Okay, so it is just targeted against her, so there's no real danger against the paladin. Okay, go ahead.
Alright, that's on 8.
The attack was 8, or is
The
that
attack was
damage that
4,
you're rolling?
and oh wait, I added the wrong modifier. My bad. That would be 10. 10 damage total. Oh wait,
10 damage total?
Wait, did I have to do an attack roll also, or?
Exactly. How does that work? Yeah, is it a
still
save
has a
that she has to
save.
roll?
Oh yeah, she has to roll dexterity. My bad. Dexterity save.
Dexterity save? Okay. Yeah, sorry, I'm still
It's
kind of.
okay. I got all jacked up.
You're good, man. That was good.
Well, that's a nat 20 on the dex save.
And can I do as a bonus action healing word on Caden?
Oh, you guys are so nice.
Well, I can't
Yes.
let you roast in the fire, can I?
Yeah, I'm going to require you to move closer to him, though.
Okay, so now, all right, I'll move us close. Well, like a midpoint where I'm like between him and the villagers.
Okay.
All right. And
So-
I would like to cast that as a second spell slot. It says here, it's a 1d4, and I increase it by another one.
Another D4?
Yeah, plus my spellcasting modifier, which is 4.
Okay, so roll me 2D4s and add 4.
It is S16. Wait,
16.
right? Here, let me do it.
You rolled 2 4s?
No, I accidentally rolled 2 6. So let me do it again. There we go. All right, it's an 8.
Okay, so you rolled 8. All right, so somebody.
Oh wait, and I get +2 from being a disciple of life, so that would be 10.
Okay, so Caden would regain 10 HP. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. All right, Caden. Yeah, you'll feel a warmth envelop you, kind of a not a fiery warmth, but just a warm light as it brings together some of the wounds in your torso, and you feel a lot better than you did a minute ago.
And like Caden has never had any like magic done on him really ever in his life. And so like as this was happening, you would see a look of like shock and awe cross his face. Like pretty sure that this was just what happens when you get stabbed like 5 times. And like certain he's like gonna die. And so you see him like stop wiggling on the tree for a moment. And then eventually you see like one eye open. And then he like starts freaking out and he starts pulling, trying harder.
Absolutely. And that was excellent. Now we're going to move down to now we're going to move over to Vigor. Vigor, you have Marianne bridged over your axe handle, very much trying to end your life.
Yeah, he's kind of grimacing, kind of looking up. Get my axe out of your disgusting mouth. And he kind of rolls over and throws her to the ground, and then kind of wheels the axe back into kind of more of a fighting stance, kind of spins almost 360 degrees, kind of sticking the axe blade out away from him and spinning, trying to bring as much momentum to this attack as he can.
Excellent. Excellent. That would be a crit, sir.
Yes, yes. Okay, so how do you handle crits?
That is a good question. I hadn't really considered it.
Some people will like take the die damage and you get like a die full of damage and then you roll a second one. Some people roll twice. Some people roll once and double.
I'm definitely going to go with the max damage on one die and roll, maybe roll a second one.
Okay. Okay, so that is, and for the max damage on the first, should my strength apply with that or just the second time?
Yes.
Okay. So
all modifiers, max.
Max damage was 16 points, and then I rolled a 7, so that's an additional 11 points. So that's 27 points. And then in addition, once again, he's going to burn a first level spell for some juicy extra radiant damage on top of it.
Mm.
So that's 6 more radiant points on the die as far as before the +5. So an additional 11 radiant.
All right. So, as you do this spin attack, the light of your righteous anger alights into the blade, and like a heated scalpel catches her as she lands on all fours, looks up at you, and screeches. Her mouth opens wide right as your blade meets into her face and slices completely through her body, severing her completely in half, horizontally. Her reign has ended. You've destroyed this ungodly creature you knew as Marianne. One half of her falls to the ground, the other goes flying into the flame. The villagers look astonished as they see their mistress destroyed. They're going to start to twitch as the magic that held them together is dying. They're no longer human looking. What you see around you is 10 ghoulish figures, their mouths hanging open, tongues lolling, hungry for meat, living meat, longing to hear the heartbeat cease as they bite into you. They're going to launch an attack on you. One's a 15, one's an 11. It's a 14. Okay. And one additional has oh, I'm sorry, cat. Kicked my cat in the face. That's close to him. And that rolls a 7, misses you. They've dropped their daggers and are attacking you with feral claws, trying to rip into you. They've grabbed you and just ripping your flesh into shreds. That's 2 damage on one and 2 damage on the other. They rake your back. And with that is going to be Caden.
I'm going to try one more time here to snake out of these.
With
this dice has not been treating me. There we go. So that's a 21 acrobatics.
Yes. We're gonna say in the melee, Griff had sliced a couple of the ropes.
Yeah.
Assisting you, and you break free. You break free of the ropes, and the approaching or the villager that was left. What do you do from here? Do you want to stay where you are, or do you want to move away?
So was that my action to break out of that? Okay.
Yes,
so could I maybe like pick up one of the daggers that they stab me with,
Absolutely.
and with my bonus action, stab this remaining villager in the neck?
Okay, roll me an attack.
That is a 13 or 13. Yeah.
13 hits.
Yeah.
You-
So just super fucking mad, just like drive it right through like the base of the neck, and just maybe repeatedly because I'm mad.
You hack this thing. It's toothy maw biting at your face. Its tongue lolls out and it severs its own tongue in its feral attack, trying to do anything that it can to you as you just pummel this thing with steel down into its neck and chest, and it falls completely dead before you. You were splattered in dark black blood, breathing heavily, still bleeding from some wounds in your torso. We're back up to Griff now. Griff, what would you like to do?
All right, he kind of looks over at Caden and like the dead body and goes, "Nicely done." Then he's taking off back towards the one surrounding Vigor. Could
Okay.
he make that with his movement?
Yeah.
All right, so he goes flying dagger first at the closest one.
Okay.
All right, so that's going to be it's an 11 to hit.
That hits.
All right.
Barely, but it hits. The rest of you see Griff flying from the top of the hill. He takes a few steps and launches himself, Leonidas style, from the top of this hill and just barely hits onto one of the ghouls, dragging him to the ground, stabbing him, ending his life.
All right, when he lands and he spins and throws another dagger at the next one.
Okay. Roll me another attack.
Weapon fighting. The 17 plus 7.
Absolutely hits. Drops another one. There's now seven ghoulish villagers still left standing.
Welcome to party, small man.
All right, that was my turn.
All right, cool. Erevan.
All right. I want to cast Sacred Flame on whichever villager is the closest to Caden.
Okay. They're going to have to roll a dex save, yes?
Yes.
Right. They do not make that.
All right. It's 5 plus 4 plus.
Oh, just holy fire just rains down and engulfs. They just erupt in holy light and scream one last scream as they're ripped completely apart.
And then as my bonus action, I want to heal Caden again with Healing Word.
Excellent.
All right, that's 9.
Cool. Can you back up to full now?
Yeah, I'd be
Awesome.
like almost double.
Outstanding. So from there, Vigor, the brute, the wrathful vengeance of the gods. How would you like to handle these remaining 5 villagers?
I was looking up lay on hands, but I don't know that that's really Vigor's style. I think that's something that he might do afterwards. There's people to put on the ground, so he kind of whirls around, still somewhat wet, but now more with blood than with just pure water and soap. And we kind of see like the roaring bonfire behind him, so he's just completely backlit. It's just like a black shadow in front of the fire. And he kind of just reaches down and just nonchalantly pulls one of the daggers out of the back of his thigh and tosses it into the dirt. You are lowly creatures. You attack man behind. You stink of death. Let me reacquaint you with the afterlife. He's going to step forward and swing at one of them.
Excellent.
$25.
Absolutely hits. Just lop a head off that goes flying into the house.
And as he does so, he kind of looks at the others and he says, Zul'jin will have each and every one of your souls to torment for eternity for what you have done. As a bonus action, he is going to cast Bane upon 3 of them.
Okay. What does that do?
Let me double check. I believe it's a bonus action, but I want to double check just in case. I don't want to cheese the. No, I'm sorry. I do not do that. It is an action. So take that back.
Okay. So they throw themselves at you. Not that die. Just in reckless abandon. The 4 that are left. I believe there's 4 left. Was there 4 or 3 left?
Both 4.
4. All right. Yeah. All right. All right. 2 successes and a crit. So crit is going to be, that's a total of 12 on the crit, and another 11 on top of that.
So Vigor collapses under the. Oh no! Wait, he's a half orc. Instead of going to 0 hit points, where is it? Where is it? Hang on. Sorry. Relentless endurance. When I hit 0 hit points, I drop to 1 hit point instead.
Excellent. So the rest of you see the ghouls set upon your friend, and they're ripping him apart. Chunks of his flesh are devoured. His shoulder is just a bloody friggin' mess of bone and sinew. His back is shredded to ribbons, and they are laying into him as he falls down to a knee, absolutely refusing to die. From there, Caden, this is your shot.
Well, seeing this, Caden would grab, still staggering a little bit, grab a second dagger from the ground beneath him, and kind of looking at the ground and being a little hesitant that he'd be able to make it that far, he takes both of them and chucks them. 2 of the guys that are on top of Vigor.
Okay.
So he'd make 2 attack rolls. He's going to use one of his superiority dice on one of those.
Okay.
Just to add to the attack. So that's a 12 and a 14.
12 and a 14. They both hit.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And so he like chucks them both, and maybe one like goes into the back of one's head, and it like almost falls on Vigor as he's just standing there. And so these 4 ghouls are on top of him and like tearing him apart, and 2 of them just like slide down at the base of his feet. And maybe he doesn't even know that like those daggers were there. But Caden would like move up closer for next round.
Excellent. Move back up to the top of the list here with Griff. You see 2 remaining villagers trying their damnedest to devour your paladin friend.
How many we got left?
2.
2. Oh, perfect. Okay. So as he's running, he draws 2 daggers. He spins around Vigor, plants one in one of the guys, and throws the other one at the other.
Okay.
So first attack roll, that's 9.
That misses.
All right, second, that's a 20.
That absolutely hits. The thrown dagger goes wild and hits the ground. Meanwhile, the one in your hand, you stab down and destroy the ghoul on top of your friend here.
All right, and that's all I can do. I end my turn.
Okay. Mr. Cleric, you see your friend downed, struggling. One more ghoul on top of him, trying to end him. You're looking across just a field of abject horror as bodies and vicious sinews thrown everywhere. Blood is covering the ground, making it slick. What do you want to do?
Araban is going to run towards Vigor and will kneel down and put his hand on the back of his spine. And then he's going to start praying. And he's going to cast Cure Wounds on him as a second level slot. So
Okay.
that would be 2d8s instead of 1.
All right.
So that would be 14.
14 points of damage.
I was healing him.
All right, healing. Yeah, sorry. Not points of damage.
And
My
then...
dirt moment.
Oh, sorry. And then as a bonus action, I would like to cast Healing Word on him.
Excellent. Doing what clerics do.
I'm trying, man. Paramedic over here. That one is 7.
7 more HP. All right, Vigor. The light of the Dawnflower has healed a lot of your wounds. Where you were slipping into the darkness of death and angrily fighting against it, you feel more invigorated now. You know it's the blessing of the gods rising you back up so that you can strike fear into the heart of darkness. Let the rage overtake you. Tell me how you destroy this guy.
So Vigor, as he's kind of down on his knee, kind of wavering, and the red kind of fades from the sides of his vision, he kind of reaches down and dips his hand into the ichor of this evil Marianne creature, or that one that was once Marianne. And he just smears the stuff across his face and across his chest. And he kind of stands from his knee, using his battle axe, or his great axe, to lean upon. And he says to Aravan, standing behind him, "It is good to know that Zul'jin has a friend in the Dawnflower. Our gods are on the same path, and our path lies through him." Vigor strides forward and just raises his battle axe straight above his head and brings it down on this ghoul and just opens him up like a banana.
Excellent. You stand victorious over this village of horrors, this unnatural thing that happened here. You don't know what. There's some evil in this land. But you're alive. And your goal lies above you as you stand looking at the tree for the very first time since you have arrived here. Just over the tree rises the mountains, and silhouetted against the full moon is what appears to be a destroyed shell of a fortress. looking ominously down at the village. Your way lies forward. Your way lies clear. And there's where we're going to end it for the night.
Oh man, bravo!
Well done, Jason.
That was great, man.
That was great. Thanks.
8 kills this session.
Very nicely done.
Oh, man.
Guys, that was so much freaking fun.
Oh yeah.
That
I've got a long way to go. I got a long way to go with some of the rules, but I appreciate the help getting through some of it.
And like
Oh, yeah.
the rules are just a backdrop. They're a skeleton. Like you did fantastic.
Yeah.
The rule stuff is there just to fall back on when you need it. Winging it is, you did phenomenal, man.
Outstanding. I want you all on your sheets to take points of inspiration at the start of this next session. I haven't really got a date down for that yet. I'm still working on the second half of this. But I'd like to do it sometime before the middle of November, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Does Sunday work for everybody? I can keep it on a Sunday evening.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
That
perfect.
worked for me.
I
Yeah,
can
it
try.
should be.
I'm on call on the weekends.
Okay.
So I might not be able to make it. I probably will. But we'll see.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll throw out a date in the next couple of days.
Perfect.
How much of a notice do you have on your schedule? Is it like
Wait.
week by week?
It's like hour by hour.
Oh,
Which
really?
sucks, yeah.
Okay.
But like, if we got close enough, I would just say no. But
Okay.
it'd be good just to let
Okay,
them know
well-
so they like don't call me or whatever. But we'll see. I'm just saying
we'll
I
just
should
play it
be
by
able to get it. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so each of you are going to start that next session with a point of inspiration. Every single one of you were total hard asses throughout that entire encounter. The role play was phenomenal. I was nervous as hell going into this thing, and you guys just made this so much fun and easy. I really, really appreciate everything y'all did. That y'all are great. I love this group.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
I had an absolute blast. Yeah, you guys all kicked some serious ass, and it was
Well-
awesome.
When I rolled like above a 1, my
Like,
dice are killing me today.
Even just slipping into your characters, like it was awesome. It was a great group chemistry. It was a fantastic time.
Absolutely. I look forward to the next session. Unfortunately, I have a screaming infant that just woke up downstairs, so I'm going to have to go play dad. I'm going to end the recording now. So